Close your eyes for a moment and think of a warm spring day. Flowers are blooming, grass is freshly cut, and you can hear birds chirping in the distance. Faintly, you hear the buzz of a bee, traveling from flower to flower. As you enjoy the day around you, it slowly fades to a desolate scape. Sick trees, burnt up grass, no birds chirping or bees buzzing. This is our future if we keep using pesticides at the current rate. While chemicals tend to have minimal impacts on humans, the effects to the environment are large and detrimental. For the protection of our environment, chemical pesticides must be used sparingly to keep animals from perishing and ecosystems from being destroyed. Currently, farmers spray their crops with common pesticides, known as neonicotinoids. These types of chemicals are popularly used because they are safer for mammals and birds. However, these chemicals cause more harm than initially thought, endangering bees. Neonicotinoids are water soluble and thus are absorbed by the plants through the roots and ingested by bees collecting nectar. When the chemicals are ingested, they disrupt the nervous system, cause paralysis, and eventual death for the insects. Without bees, many ecosystems would be destroyed, and many plants and flowers not able to reproduce, as bees are necessary pollinators. But these effects span further than the insects. Worldwide, a multitude of cases of pesticide poisoning and dolphins are documented. Due to dolphins' high trophic level and low activity of drug metabolism, pollutants and other toxins have been traced in river dolphins, one of the most endangered species. Researchers found pesticides cause unexpected and unintentional harm to many vertebrate species that play an essential role in marine ecosystems and food webs. Scientist Tim Verslecki and his colleagues discovered that even low levels of the chemicals are disruptive and impair embryonic development, molting, and growth in crustaceans. This is due to the fact that many invertebrates use the same hormone for vital biological functions. Similarly to bees, it results in paralysis and usually death. Scientists believe pesticide use caused the outbreak of lobster shell disease in New England waters, leading to the smallest catch ever recorded. As these animals and other organisms are killed by pesticides, ecosystems are destroyed. A study from 1992 to 1995 proposed a theory that pesticides are blown from warmer climates to cooler ones. For measurement, they tested tree bark, which absorbs hydrocarbons, a common ingredient in pesticides, at 90 different sites on 6 continents. The results showed each sample of bark contained at least 22 different pesticides. Sadly, it showed more volatile pesticides tend to spread, while less volatile chemicals tend to stay near their concentrated area. According to the U.S. Geological Survey on major river basins, 90% of water and fish samples from all streams contain one to several different pesticides, and the concentration found in urban rivers commonly exceeded guidelines for protection of aquatic life. The Aral Sea, for example, once the world's fourth largest lake, covered about 64,750 square kilometers. Today, however, only covers about 31,000 square kilometers. Around 1960, the Soviet Union diverged water from the Aral to the Darya and Surdarya rivers in a network of irrigation canals. From this, the water feeding into the lake was filled with pesticides applied to cotton fields. As the lake dried due to the desert climate, the bottom became exposed, becoming the source of salt and dust storms, sending the pesticides airborne, killing nearby vegetation and imperiling the health of nearby civilians. Even with the destruction of ecosystems, some still argue that the benefits of pesticides outweigh the costs. People argue that pesticides are necessary to control pests to protect both crops and people, that wildlife can carry diseases and chemicals are needed to maintain healthy plants. The Environmental Protection Agency, EPA, regulates pesticides to protect our waterways since 70% of U.S. drinking water comes from inland waters, and farmers only use pesticides specific to what they are trying to control. However, the economic return of $3 to $5 for every dollar spent on pesticides does not outweigh the cost of the reduction of fish and wildlife populations, livestock losses, destruction of crops, and natural vegetation, and creating secondary problems. Crop yield loss to pests doubled in the past 40 years, despite the fact that insecticide use has increased and farmers are planting more crops because 37% of crop yield is lost to pests. Several studies suggest that it's possible for the U.S. to reduce pesticide use by 35 to 50% without decreasing crop yield. Pesticide reduction has already been carried out in other countries, such as Sweden and Denmark, by implementing a federal pesticide policy, developing natural ways to deter pests rather than using chemicals which harm the environment. The result, a flourishing environment and healthier population. While pesticides may work to deter pests in the US, the costs outweigh the minimal benefits. The current plan is expensive, hurts animals and other organisms, and hurts ecosystems and the environment, and does not improve crop output. The excessive use of chemicals needs to stop before it's too late to save our environment. As Rachel Carson asks in Silent Spring, we are rightly appalled by the genetic effects of radiation. How then can we be indifferent to the same effects in chemicals that we disseminate in our environment?